All right, everybody, we are back with another episode of Progress Report. It is week 10, and the song that just dropped earlier today at midnight, is Trying to Be Grown. Actually, let's do this properly. For those who don't know who I am Nomad222. I'm an artist. I'm a spoken word and hip hop artist. I perform, I make music. It's out on all platforms. You can find it Nomad222. And I am an event producer. I wear a lot of different creative hats, but most importantly, I'm a father of four. And I'm based in Naarm, Melbourne, in Australia. I am half Maori, half Samoan, and I'm very proud of that fact. And I make content as well, and that's why you are seeing this. And Progress Report is a series of weekly updates where I update how my analytics are going, how my stats are looking across the board, whether that's streaming stats, social media stats. We are tracking it, and we've been tracking it for 10 weeks so far since I started releasing my album, The Nomadic Deluxe. It's a waterfall release where every single Friday I'm dropping one new song from the album until the entire project is out. And it started as just a way to monitor the progress of the album rollout, but now we are focused on making this a progress report for every single week for the rest of my career. You know, who knows how long this is going to go for, but so far we've been at it for 10 weeks straight, and we've seen some immense progress. So let's get into the data about things, and then I'll talk about what's been happening in my life over the past week and where my brain's at, what's changed, what's happening, different work, and all of that sort of stuff. Now, first analytic that we always look at every single week is Spotify monthly listeners, because I'm trying very hard to reach 4 million monthly listeners. And it's, obviously that's a big number. It's huge. I don't know anyone personally that has 4 million monthly listeners, but it's a goal nonetheless. And it's a goal that I've set because of different artists that I have been researching and seeing what they do, and they live the life I want to live. My measure of success is that I'm able to do this full time and still take care of my family and out of what I make from music. So I looked at artists who have similar things to me, who have their own families, who are raising kids and are able to do it full time, and I'm mirroring their success. And one of the metrics that they had for themselves is 4 million monthly listeners. And so that's where that numbers come from. So we started with 51 monthly listeners on the 8th of August, and now we are sitting at 434. So we haven't had an increase in the past week, but obviously 434 after starting at 51 is a pretty crazy jump. So we need to figure out now how can we keep that momentum going and get back on track where we're making gains every single week, because 434 is the same as what we had last week. And that was a dip from week 8, which was at 442. So we've peaked at 442, and now we got to figure out how to get past that now. So the good thing is that it didn't dip again in the second week, but we have plateaued at 434. That's cool. We're happy with that. That's fine. Spotify total streams, we started at 5,632, and now we're sitting at 8,984. Last week we were at 8,681, but we're close to 9,000, close to 10,000 for the year. So that's cool. Thank you to everyone who's been running up the music so far. Spotify followers, we had 188 last week, and now we're at 194. So I think that's an increase of six new followers on Spotify. Shout out to all of you who've joined the community and you're with us now. You're rocking with us. That's cool. Spotify playlist ads, we had 468 last week. Now we're at 517. Sick. That's cool. Apple Music daily listeners still stayed the same. We're at 2. Apple Music total streams, we're still at 7,800. It hasn't changed in 3 weeks. That's all good. We're not too fussed about Apple Music. The main one for us is Spotify, right? Even though Apple Music does pay out more. So if you're out there and you have an iPhone and you're using Spotify, what are you doing? Cancel your Spotify subscription, go to Apple Music, because they pay the artists more fairly. Or if you want to pay the artists directly and pay them even more fairly, you can buy my album and all of my other singles and everything like that off of even.biz, and you can pay me directly for my work. And that's an even more fair way to, support an artist other than streaming. But if you are going to do it, jump to Apple Music or Tidal, one of the ones that pay out more fairly. Anyway, That's a whole other rant. Instagram followers. Let's get into the social medias. So Instagram followers, we did see an increase over this past week, and I want to explain that a little bit more later, but we are now sitting at 4,076. Keep in mind that we started out at 4,111, but of course we had some issues with the bots and people unfollowing. We're still in the filtering process, right? Our goal for all social media platforms is 10,000 followers, because that's the magic number. Our Instagram post engagement rate went up to 3.16% after being at 2,090%, so that's okay. TikTok followers, we are at 5,304 after being at 5,297 last week. TikTok post engagement rate is at 4.44%, which is a little bit of a dip by 0.1%. We were at 4.54% last week. YouTube subscribers, we're at 484, so we've gained 4 new subscribers thanks to you guys. YouTube engagement rate is way down. We were at 5.10%, and now we're at 0.86%. Now, I want to remind you guys that the way that the engagement rate is calculated is based on views and the interactions. So interactions divided by views, or views divided by interactions, something like that. But you could have a large amount of views. I think on Instagram we were at like 50,000 something views, and only a certain amount of interactions, which is likes, comments, shares, and things like that. So that's why the engagement rate is so low, because I'm getting a lot of views and not so much engagement. So if you guys are watching this, please make sure you leave a like, so that I know that you're actually rocking with what we're saying in this whole thing. It just boosts the engagement rate, and the higher the engagement rate, the better the algorithm is going to treat your account. Or so that's my hypothesis. But that's our stats for this week. Not major gains in any of the categories. The most consistent metrics so far have been the total streams on Spotify, the followers, and the playlist ads on Spotify, as well as TikTok followers. And those have just been steadily increasing every single week, except for 2 weeks in the followers where it kind of just stayed the same, but that's all good. But yeah, everyone that's following us on TikTok, that made their way across to YouTube, let me know in the comments if you made your way across from TikTok. That would be great to know. Spotify monthly listeners, I'm a little bit worried that we've hit a ceiling there and that we're not going to see much progress from there, even though our target of 4 million monthly listeners is the biggest on Spotify. But again, we need to do this with no expectations. We need to just, we have our goals. We got all the time in the world. We'll just see what happens. Instagram followers. Yes, let me talk about that. So I made an announcement earlier this week that I am no longer going on tour. I've withdrawn from the Bridging the Music Minifest tour for a couple of different reasons, but the main reason, and ultimately the final straw that broke the camel's back on me pulling out, was that I have been feeling weird ever since I announced the fundraiser. That I was trying to raise $5,000 for me and Levi to go overseas and tour and everything like that and do these shows. But we're doing it at a time when there's ongoing conflict, not just in Palestine and Lebanon, but also in the Congo, DRC, and all around the world. There's still things happening. There's still war happening in Ukraine with Russia, and now Iran's joined in the conflict that's happening with Israel, and there's all kinds of conflicts going on, and I'm trying to raise money so that I can go on tour. It just doesn't make any sense. Not only does it feel impossible and adds unnecessary stress to what I'm doing, but it just takes away from the greater issues that are happening around the world. So I didn't want any part of that. I've withdrawn, and I made an announcement about it. I put it on all the socials and on YouTube and everything like that. And the response to it has been really, really great. And, even that gives me a little bit of a funny feeling, because, I'm trying to shed more light on what's going on around the world, and it's also leading to a boost in engagement on my socials and things like that, which is definitely not what I was trying to do. I'm never trying to exploit issues that are happening within community to gain more followers or anything like that. But I hope that you guys who have followed me for genuine reasons. I hope that my announcement showed some kind of heart, and from your comments it did, and you guys can sort of see the person that I am, or try my best to be, and you recognize my best intentions, and that if you do stick around for the music, then I'm even more grateful. I try and these are messages that I not only try and convey in my speech, in my dialect, and how I conduct my daily life and routine, but also things that I try and reflect in my music. And I need to shout out my friend, someone who's been very important to me this past year, and not just shaping my thoughts around decolonizing our industries and just opening my mind to the greater possibilities of being within migrant communities and working within communities. But shout out to Leah from Co-Culture. She's been such a huge advocate even before we knew of each other personally. She was using my music and breaking down my lyrics within community and using it as something to inspire the young people that were, in the systems and just needed guidance. And specifically my song "We On," where I talk about the youth in my community fighting to be heard by a system they usually keep on muting me. Watching the news on my computer screen, killing each other ain't new to me, but I long for the days of unity, long for the days that's embedded in my genetics by pioneers and the legends that sailed around the Pacific, specifically my voyage of roots, proof that I'm destined for better, just like the warriors who knew that the truth lies waiting beyond the shore. Apologies if I'm getting deeper than ocean floor. I'm just paying respect to the ones that open the door for a youngin' like me to flourish. Instill to me the wisdom and knowledge to lead with courage. Born and raised in Melbourne, still treated like I'm a tourist. I felt like my upbringing implied that I was imperfect, but what would rise to the surface is I'm designed for a purpose, cause lessons from your mistakes are often the most worth it, and I can see the vision even clearer than before. It's to the point I can't ignore it anymore. I hope I live for the future we got in store, and if I can't, I just pray that somebody carry the torch, and we on. And so I put that song out with DJ Spell on the production, and As One has a very powerful verse. If you haven't heard it, it's on all streaming platforms. We on Nomad222, Great As One, or just AS1, and DJ Spell. And I kind of let it sit. I didn't realize that people were actually listening to that song and absorbing the message for what we hoped it would be. Truth be told, I thought that song kind of flopped and fell to the wayside, but turns out that community was listening to that song. So I really need to shout out Leah, not only for doing that back then, but when I announced my departure from the tour, she shared my post. She shared it around, and now all these incredible spirits coming to give attention to this, not only this song, but what I'm working on now. And it's been a major game changer. It's truly incredible. Leah, if you see this, I really do appreciate it, because not only are people now following me, but I'm also following them back, and I'm seeing, all these different people who are similar minded, not to us, to who we are. And that's, again, this whole thing, I've said it in episodes past, it's all about building community of like-minded individuals and finding our community and finding our thinkers. And it's just, it's like, it's manifestation. It really is manifestation. We've been asking for this since the first week of this entire thing, and now these people are it's law of attraction and all that stuff that we've been preaching the past couple of weeks. is happening in real time, and I'm really grateful for it. And that's all I want to say about that. Just thank you. Just really from the bottom of my heart, thank you. On the flip side, let's talk about this tour, because there's been a couple of people asking some more questions. Is that really the reason? And kind of questioning my authenticity on that whole thing. And again, like I said, there was a bunch of different reasons for me withdrawing from the tour, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Because you guys would have seen it. I announced the tour, and at first it just sounded like I'm going on tour. We're being flown over to New Zealand and Perth and Sydney, and we're going to go on this tour in different places that we've never been, and we're trying to promote and sell tickets, right? And that's what it seemed like at first. But then later, I announced that we're doing a fundraiser because we actually need to pay for our flights and accommodation. And I hope that some of you thought that that was a little bit fishy, right? I can't go into too much detail about this whole thing, but I can say that, yes, obviously we needed to pivot and start focusing on raising money and selling tickets at the very same time so that we can make this tour possible. So somehow I was supposed to rely on my community in Melbourne and the people that listen to me to help me pay for flights and accommodation for me and Levi so we can go over there just to get to the shows. And then on top of that, I simultaneously have to figure out how to promote in those cities that I don't have a fan base in, but promote to sell tickets in their city to meet a ticket obligation. So that just think about that and the pressure that's there, right? But I was still going to make it work. I got into my hustle mode. I made promo content. I made all these different posts and things like that. I was driving the fundraiser, and I had songs written. I have written songs over Mobb Deep, Ain't Nothing But a G Thing, a Millie, Through the Wire. I had 4 different songs, a song for each city that we were touring in that specifically caters to them to entice them to buy tickets and things like that. I was in my hustle mode and I was going to make it work. The problem was that the day that I announced the fundraiser, the campaign to raise $5,000 for flights and accommodation, unfortunately, was the day that we found out about Lebanon. Or if not the exact same day, it was definitely around the same time. And you have, just imagine how that feels on the inside. Like, I have friends whose families were directly affected by that. And I have friends who've been affected by the entire past year and decades of discrimination in Palestine. I know so many people that are affected by these conflicts, and I'm here making jokes and trying to get people to raise money. I can't express it enough. Like, I need you to, it makes my stomach turn that I do that. And I have a lot of friends who are understanding as well, that are like, well, there's no right time to promote a tour. There's no right time to promote your music. As a musician, you got to do what you got to do to, kind of giving me the cop out and letting me, do that. And to an extent, I'm already doing that with my album rollout. I have songs planned until the 28th of November to roll out every single Friday. So I'm already doing that. That's bad enough in my opinion. But then on top of that, I'm gonna do a tour as well. It's like an unnecessary tour. Yeah, it would be great to be able to go over to Christchurch and Auckland and Perth and Sydney and perform there and, hopefully, build an audience over there right now. But do I need to right now? It's not a need. It's not a necessity. I can just... This thing that I'm trying to prove, the concept that I'm trying to prove, is that it is possible to build a career out of your garage. And I haven't done that yet. That's what the 4 million monthly listeners metric is for. That's what all of these goals, all these analytics that we're trying to achieve, is just what can we do from putting music out from the garage? Putting music out that we enjoy, that we like making, and building content around it to engage new audiences around the globe and just building a community of like-minded individuals that want to listen to the music. Do that first, and then I can worry about the tour and stuff. Why am I rushing a tour right now? And not only that, why am I rushing a tour that I can plot on my own, organize on my own, and take the full risk of? I can do it all on my own, but instead I'm choosing to go on a tour that is, being monitored by an organization. It just doesn't make sense. And yeah, that's the last thing that I want to say on it. I'm very fortunate to have people in my corner right now that are backing me and helping me to take care of that whole situation. And I know that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be just fine. And I'm glad that we've pulled out of it. I feel a weight lifted off my shoulders. I feel like the anxiety that I was having around this whole thing is just gone. And even though, look, I recognize that it is important to get into hustle mode, but don't put yourself in a position where the hustle mode is just out of discomfort, just out of anxiety, just out of pressure that is completely unnecessary. All right, put the pressure on yourself to be great in different areas, in areas that make sense to your life and where you're at. Right, I'm putting healthy pressure on myself right now to finish this rollout, complete the rollout, create content for next year. I'm trying to create enough content so that I can consistently post for 365 days next year. We've got enough content for this entire rollout. Before the first release date, which was the 9th of August, right? I had 17 weeks worth of posts, so that every single day in that 17-week period, I'm making a post every single day. And that took a long period of time. But what it did was it gave me roughly 3 to 4 months worth of time, of buffer time, where I can now focus on getting enough content for the next year. And I'm close. I'm quite close. I'll say that. This includes new music. This includes promoting the entire catalog that's existing, once this album's done and finished rolling out. And the plan is just to be as consistent as possible next year with all the content that I'm able to put out. And I'm really looking forward to next year. I have a great feeling about it, and honestly, I don't feel the need to do a tour. I don't feel the need to do any shows or anything else aside from release music and release content. Release music, release content. That's my two main objectives for next year. Everything else is secondary, and everything else will be done with more discretion, a little bit more caution. I do want to do something in my backyard. I do want to do a show like, how La Russell does the Pergola shows in the Bay Area. I want to do something. Sorry, he's not in the Bay Area. I gotta stop saying that. In Vallejo. I want to do something in my tiny backyard. Just invite people over for free to have a jam session and do something fun. I don't know how viable that is right now, but it's something that I'm thinking about. And I'm not going to put too much pressure on that idea. It's just an idea. And if we can pull it off in the most, stress-free way possible, then that's great. Otherwise, I'll just keep doing this. Creating content, putting it out, releasing music. And yeah, I want to shout out Levi. I don't know if he's going to see this. But shout out to Levi for, holding it down with me the past couple of months. We're working on a lot of dope music. There's already songs that are finished and ready to drop next year, and they're sprinkled throughout different dates of next year. But the goal is to hit 12 to 24 songs. We're wrapping up quite a few songs at the moment, and we have plans to get in the studio and finish up twice as much in the coming month. But yeah, it's already October. There's like less than 3 months left in the year, and January 1st is on. It's just on from the jump, and we're running with it. But yeah, with that being said, I think that's it for right now. I know it's been a little bit since I've had an update about We Move and everything that we're doing there. But yeah, there's a bit of a pause on that. We finished the grant application. We finished the pilot. I think I can give you guys this update. So we do have a little bit of a budget to create a documentary around that pilot, something that we can put together just as kind of an evaluation of how the program went, how we feel about it, and why it's needed to continue, so that hopefully we can get more funders to back us to continue the programs, like Be Free and Platform and everything like that. But that's as much as I can say at this point. At the moment, everything's kind of up in the air with that. The other thing I want to say, if you guys haven't seen on my socials, please follow my job. So I work at an arts organization called Multicultural Arts Victoria, and we are doing a lot of dope stuff with community and artists of culturally diverse backgrounds and everything like that. And one of the things that we have coming up soon, and we do a bunch of these for different reasons and different topics and things like that, but we have a grants writing workshop coming up very soon. I've sent it around to different members of community, but if I missed you, sign up to our grants writing workshop. It's completely free. You can come visit us at our new office in Preston. We're living at the Melbourne Polytechnic at the moment, and it's a very dope venue. We've got a whole classroom, and we're doing a grants writing workshop. So if you're looking for knowledge on how to write for grants and secure funding for your creative projects, then this is something that you want to be a part of and listen to. And then, just stay up to date with what we're doing at Multicultural Arts Victoria, because we're doing a bunch of different stuff. I run the brokerage program, and I'm always trying to find culturally diverse artists to connect with our clients who are running events and different performance opportunities and things like that. So join our artist database and do all that kind of stuff. It's a great opportunity for you to access resources and further your career for free, because we're trying to support the community, but we need the numbers. So make sure you guys get out there, and look, it's free. It's free, guys. The only sacrifice is your time and your attention, and that's it. It's completely free. Grant writing workshop. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this episode. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't like it, dislike it too. That's all good. We need those interactions. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this video around. Make sure you give it to your friends and your family and all of that. Trying to Be Grown is out right now, all streaming platforms. Follow me on Spotify. Let's boost that Spotify monthly listeners. Add it to your playlist. Whatever platform you use, add it to your playlist and all of that sort of stuff. This is probably the longest intro we've done so far, but thank you for watching once again. And remember that together we move.